having community partners also talk to the group about how they've started to use data more in their work to make it more applicable to the audience. And we post on our websites. We don't use like the Meetup function, but we always post on our website what the topics will be, and anyone is welcome to attend. So, any questions?
Who typically attends?
So we have, again, like folks from our communities, so from our neighborhoods who are community-based organizations. Liz from TRP is an example, and you've also spoken, I think.
Yes, they are very helpful. We presented about the community portals and how the impact of the digital community portals have had in the years that we have to support from Liz to Chicago. And they are every year, Data Friday is very helpful. We learn the very use of every tool that is.
The other group that often comes are people who aren't really part of our network, but so we often have someone from the Chicago Health Department who shows up. We have a lot of folks from Shape and Hall who come too. So we started to notice that there was a lot of interest from folks who provide data assistance and resources that were coming to these because they were really interested in a nonprofit perspective on that. So it really became a way to kind of connect those two worlds, although we feel strongly that our audience really is the community-based organizations to build their data capacity. So, yeah. Yeah, so we've now gotten a lot better at tracking who comes to these. I haven't done, and it would be my job to do it, a careful analysis of what that looks like. Sometimes we have 30 people, sometimes we have 10, so it really ranges quite a lot. And yeah, we do see a lot of the same faces, but then depending on the topic, we'll see people who don't normally come show up. So it has been a trick for us to figure that out, how to make the sessions more attractive to folks, but we're working on that. So, and I think I'm really interested in hearing the other meetups that are going on, and if it makes sense for our audience to also be attending those, or if you can come and advertise yours at Data Friday. I think there's a lot of opportunity for more collaboration within the ecosystem.
Karen, so how do you get in the game on this? Is there a sign-up process?
Oh.
Is there?
So if you are interested in coming, I would say look at our website, which is,
and it's right here, livechicago.org.
Yeah.
Data
So if you go, our Data Fridays is here. We have the 2013-2014 schedule posted. We're about to post our next schedule for the next 3 months out.
Okay.
And again, first Friday, 3 p.m. every month. And show up. And then once you come, you can get on the list for the future ones. If you really want to get on the list, the email invite, people can reach out to me.
Okay, reach out to you means, and by the way, I just tweeted it, because we have to be explicit
that's
here,
good. Yeah.
completely, utterly explicit. So if anybody is on the Twitter stuff, please get in these meeting notes. That's the purpose of them, right? We have live meeting notes. There's a Google Doc. If you see it, does anybody have any idea what I'm talking about? Get in it, please, and if you can, copy paste her name and her. I'm in there now. Taryn Roach.
TROCH@list.org.
TROCH@list.org. This is the method by which someone can be included in this group. And that is the only way that someone can be included in this group. Is that correct?
You can also just show up.
You can show up at the address at the appointed time.
Yeah.
Got it.
Where's your office?
We're located on Adams and LaSalle, 135 South LaSalle, 22nd floor, Suite 2230.
The Chicago list can be really, when I first heard about you guys a couple years ago, I could not find you anywhere.
Well, when you look at Google, it takes you to like 1 North LaSalle, and that is not correct.
Well, wait, what did you mean? Did you mean location or did you mean the organization?
On the internet.
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
what she's
you
talking
guys,
about.
and the only way I eventually found you was because this woman, Sally Duros, was tweeting me.
Oh, I know Sally Burris, yeah.
And she gave me some information. I had never heard of you a couple years ago, and I did a web search, and I kept getting nowhere. So
We're
maybe
on
it's
the
better
web.
now. Maybe it's better now. I don't know, but I was not finding it.
Sorry, can I ask just one other
Yeah.
question? You're at 135 South LaSalle, and your members are kind of all over.
Yeah.
So, like, do you, like, help with parking or public transport?
We-
How do you think about that? as
Yeah,
like-
so it is an issue. Parking is an issue for a lot of our members, and we've had a lot of discussions about where should we host these. So we've hosted them also in the neighborhood. So we've done a few at Blue 1647 in Pilsen. We did one at the Illinois State Teachers Group in East Garfield Park. So we always post the address where they're going to be on our website, but we do try to also get them out into the community too. We've noticed it hasn't really changed attendance though.
Is it
So
different people?
yeah, I mean, it's less people from downtown, so it's maybe the guy from Chicago Department of Health doesn't show up, but it's about the same amount of community folks who come.
But it would matter if it's different. If you're getting different people, then it's worth going into the neighborhood.
Right, so now we're gonna be doing a mix. We're gonna have them at our office and also in the community, so.
Okay. Anything else? Yep.
No.
Okay. Awesome. Spencer, you're next.
Great, thanks.
All right.
Which is good because
Thanks, Taryn.
what Woodstock does is in a lot of ways similar, and if you actually went to their Data Fridays, you'd see that Katie Butrago from Woodstock had done a presentation there. Woodstock does have a website. We have a data portal. Actually, there are three things I'll talk about. One is the data portal, which puts the data that we have online. You can download it, customize the tables, charts, hover over to get actual data. You're going to Woodstock?
I am.
We do trainings on it. One of the things Katie did at LISC was to talk about how to use the web portal so that you can get the data for yourself. It's aggregated by community area, municipality. So if those are your service areas, if you work in, I'll use Pilsen as a random example, you can get the data that we have online. It includes mortgage lending, vacancies, income, employment, jobs. We're going to be adding business lending. If that doesn't do for you what you want done, we have offered technical assistance. That's the second phase, which is that you can call us up and ask us to compile data for your area or the data that you want. We tend to focus primarily on economic-related data. So again, business lending, mortgages, income. We have it all at the census tract level, so we can link to any census demographic data. We receive funding from numerous organizations to provide technical assistance, so you don't have to pay for it if the request is reasonable. We're not going to do an unlimited amount of work for you, but if it's in the 2 to 3 hour range to compile the data and give it to you, we can map it. So to a certain extent, you don't need to maintain a GIS capability or develop one if you don't have it, because we have, for us, that's an integral part of what we do, is data mapping. And again, we can do it at almost any aggregation you want. Usually we work with community areas. Terry Mazzani's presentation this morning, that's how people in Chicago tend to think of things. And the other thing that came up yesterday, and Taryn also offers this, is I'm not so good with the technology. I mean, when you send something out on Twitter, I'm not going to get it. I'm not on Facebook. Katie Butrago, who did the presentation at LISC, is the person who handles that. And she is unavailable today because she got married yesterday.
Wow.
So, yeah, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that excuse, you know.
We had a speaker who had to cancel because she had a baby 2 days ago.
Yes, yes, our policy director was out on maternity leave because she had a baby on the 7th. We are slightly before that. If you go to data.
Yeah. Do you want to drive this, by the way?
All right, I will
Okay.
just show you
Good.
a couple of things. Again, Katie is much better at this,
She's
and I
really
hate.
good at Twitter because that's how I met her.
Oh, yeah, she's the one who handles all of that. That's why I don't have to worry about that. because we have, just like GIS, we have Michael Almiller, who's my research associate, who's really good at it, which saves me the trouble of actually having to keep up with all of the technology and changes in the software. But, for example, income. You can take this, you can decide, now this happens to, what it's showing right now is displayed at the community area level. So you can see by income quintiles, that's bottom 20%, next 20%, so on, and how many households are in each area of the distribution. The distribution is the regional distribution of incomes. And then you can see it charted, so you can see Fuller Park, for example, has a lot of households in the bottom quintile. This is probably not what they want, but that is, and you can see, 2/3 of households in Fuller Park are in the bottom 20% of the region's income distribution. If I went to county level, if I decide instead I'm not going to do it based on community area, I'm going to do it on county, and I can select all of the counties, it will automatically update and show you how the counties rank. Lake County, for example, has a very high percentage in the highest income level. Not surprising given, Highland Park, Lake Bluff, Lake Forest. You can download these. You can add or exclude counties or neighborhoods. So this is what a lot of organizations now can go and get data directly from themselves. We don't need to do that for you. And actually our web traffic was up 250% once we put it online. But again, if that's not what you're looking for, you can call us and ask for technical assistance.
What's your phone number?
312-368-0310. You go through a switchboard.
What's your extension?
27.
27.
2027.
2027.
But Berry Hill handles the phones, or actually, almost anybody handles the phones except me. I just answer. But you can call, ask for technical assistance, ask for mapping. And the other thing is, I would be happy to work with you to learn, to teach you more about Excel, which is how we do most of our data processing. I don't expect many of you to spend the money on SPSS, and I don't know how many of you need what SPSS does. We use it occasionally for statistical analysis. But mostly, it's presenting the data, giving you descriptions of what's going on in your neighborhood. I happen to like playing with spreadsheets. Those are my computer games. I do it for fun. My younger daughter and I talk about pivot tables on Saturday morning. We are very disturbed individuals, but we like what we do. And we'd be happy to teach you some of the techniques that we use, from using formulas to more advanced, where you can take data, say you get census data and you want to aggregate it on your neighborhood. I can show you how to do that very easily and very quickly. It'll make you look good. And if you can put this into a report and show who you're serving, I have found it's very helpful. Funders like to see that you have that capability of documenting who you're serving. And unfortunately, I usually wear a jacket to conferences. Today is Saturday, I thought I'd be casual. My business cards are all in my jacket pocket. So I spaced this morning, I'm sorry. But so that's what Woodstock can do. We don't convene meetups, but we will come to your site, or you can come to ours. We're right in the loop, and we have a conference room, and we can show you how to use what we have to offer. Thank you. Okay.
Hearing you and then thinking of the conversations I had yesterday, I want to get you and other people in the room together, because one session I was in was people talking about how, it was your session that you spoke at, talking about how people can access learning how to do data and using data and all of that, and teaching us a thing on Excel. I mean, holy smoke, how many people maybe think about that? And And then I had a conversation with Tom and some other people talking about they're creating this data school and they have all these great ideas, but they don't have enough people to teach to create content. And you're talking about how you guys can teach. We need to have those conversations between
Mhm.
different people.
What time is that conversation gonna happen?
At 2 to 4 today.
Okay, exactly what time? At 2 p.m.?
2 o'clock, I'm in.
Okay, what room?
Where did you set up the?
36-2.
I'll
That's
say,
fine.
Great.
unfortunately, I have a
36-2 at
commitment.
2 o'clock.
Then I'll follow up with you.
But follow up with me,
Yeah.
because yes, I think it's very important to
Okay,
improve the
36-2.
capacity of people to understand the data. Now, just getting data, I mean, I can tell you where to get
Yeah.
data. Because most of the data we use actually are free, downloadable, but they have idiosyncrasies. And it really helps if you're somebody like me and I live this, I mean, it's what I do. I can tell you that if you download mortgage data, the gender of the applicant could be 1, 2, 3, or 4. I know what that means. This is not the Federal Reserve System being progressive.
Any email address in front of me?
SCOWAN at woodstockinst.org. So it's Woodstock Institute, but we just shortened it. Yes.
Yeah, we have things that we work. I just want to talk a little bit specific question.
Sure.
Some of my data to my data. And forgive me, so this is an idea. I
Okay.
haven't got into it yet. It make no sense. But my idea, but what I want to do is take a look at the city budget in terms of expenditures by communities. So I don't know if it's possible, we gotta do it, but until, would that fall in line with your work?
Yes, it
Okay.
would.
Have you done it?
I've not done it. I haven't, I mean, when you raise that issue, I'm not sure how the city accounts for its expenditures. I know they just put the TIF districts, which used to be notoriously hard to get. There are a lot of them, and they are somewhat amorphous.
You said used to. They're not harder to get now? They're not harder to get
Apparently, they
now?
put them online.
Okay.
That was one of the presentations yesterday.
Good thing Tresser's not here. I think he would-
Data.citychicago.org.
Yeah. I mean, I really
We have a
haven't,
TIF
I haven't
conversation.
looked at the city budget to see whether they specify, and, I mean, they're doing they're doing road work. I don't know if it's gonna be an improvement on State Street and Madison. You know, those are in one area, but I don't know how they account for, you know, big projects like that that may span districts. You know, I don't think they end spending at the West Pullman line. Well, they may,
As
but,
close as I could, so I'd love to talk to you about it. When you said we can come to you or organization, is there a qualification to working with you? I work with data on my day job, but my labor of love projects are really what I have in mind. Just from activism.
most of the people or organizations we work with are community-based organizations, advocacy groups or advocates, government agencies. We are not adverse to working with individuals. We get occasional calls from students. We will not do your homework for you. But I will tell you where to find data, if that's what you need. And I will try to give you some guidance on processing it, some of the quirks, what it means, why there's a difference between median family income and median household income, and explain, as I did to the treasurer's office, the difference between household income and per capita income, which seemed a little bizarre to me, but it took some explaining. So, yes. So that's what we do.
So what I'm trying to do with each of these is to give the information about what you do, and then the method of engagement, like exactly how you can get plugged in, so you never have to talk to anybody again except to me. So that's it, right? Call you up, or send you an email, right?
Call me or email me. I'm old-fashioned. My
And
kids
then-
say email is how old people communicate.
Well, we're gonna tweet your email address, so we won't be old-fashioned for long, so.
Very nervous.
You know, being on Twitter is my choice, or not to be.
Yep.
And out of respect for my children, I don't, you know, they don't want to see me doing that sort of stuff. It's just, they've seen the image and it's just not pretty.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Daniel? Okay, well, oh wait, here, you gotta get, so let's get Christopher. Christopher, you wanna drive over here or you wanna?
Let me tell Microsoft never to
When people
update.
stand up, can they just say their names in case we don't already know you? Just
Good morning. My name is Christopher Whitaker. I am one of the co-organizers of the OpenGov Hack Night. The OpenGov Hack Night is a weekly event that happens every Tuesday at 1871 inside Merchandise Mart. The event is free, and what we try to do is gather web developers, technologists, web designers, nonprofit employees, city employees, civic do-gooders, and essentially anybody who's interested in leveraging the power of technology to improve cities all together in one room. OpenGov Hack Night kind of formed kind of as an offshoot of the Apps for Metro Chicago App Challenge that happened about 3 years ago. They had a number of hackathons as part of that challenge. We thought this was really cool. So we started working and building on projects and quickly realized that trying to throw a project together in the course of one weekend all the time is not the most effective way to do this. It's kind of a pain in the butt. We kind of need our sleep. So Derek, Forrest, Greg, Juan, myself started setting up meetings to where instead of trying to do everything in one weekend, to just gather every Tuesday night and just kind of hang out. When we initially started, we were about 12, 14 people meeting in the offices of Webitex, and now we average about 70 people a week in a room that is much too small. I promise we are trying to get a bigger room. And hot.
Yeah.
And it gets hot. So we are getting a bigger room. We're going to try and utilize 1871's expanded space. We're talking with them. Hopefully that all works out. The OpenGov Hack Nights have the same agenda every week. First, we introduce everybody, even if it usually takes about 15 minutes. We have announcements. So if someone launched a cool project, if someone's having a cool event like the Chicago School of Data, we announce that. Usually we have a presentation. We've had presentations on a number of apps, a number of civic startups, a number of companies. We've had Brenna Berman talk about procurement in the city of Chicago, which was very neat. As part of my role, I both live stream and record all of the Hack Nights. So if you go to Smart Chicago's YouTube channel and look at Hack Nights, you will see about 300 videos about all the different Hack Nights. So you can go back and review what we've done. I also blog about them on a consistent basis. After the presentations, we go to breakout groups. I always do Civic Hacking 101, which is a brief orientation. It always starts out the same way. How many of you are web developers? Go on. How many people here are web developers?
Wait, what? One?
You code.
Can
Nobody.
you lower the bar? WordPress?
So,
What?
so the second thing I do is I always admit my deep dark secret, and that is I do not actually code. I don't know Ruby, I don't know Python, and if you let me get into your production branch on GitHub, I will mess everything up. I say that because the Hack Night is not just for developers. It is for non-technical people, because we need writers, we need people to translate sort of the government speak into English, and then the technology speak into English. We need subject matter experts in all the areas. And so, even though we do have a lot of geeky people there, we need everybody at Hack Night. So part of what we've done is we now have different breakout groups for different subject areas. We have transportation, education, environment, pension reform, and social services. And so after the presentation, everyone breaks out. We have a discussion board on opengovhacknight.org where we kind of put the results of our meeting online so that people who weren't there can kind of review what's going on. Again, it's every Tuesday at 1871. And are there questions?
And you do have a Code 101.
We do have a new coders group, and they are developing a Code 101 to sort of give you all the basics of how to code without trying to like start from scratch each and every time, because it's a bit of an on-ramp. Yes.
What time?
6 o'clock. The food gets there at 6 o'clock. Usually it's deep dish, and then we generally start actually around 6:15.
And is there a sort of, are there a set of milestones to present some of the apps that are developed to, stakeholders that can actually do something with the apps?
It's open-ended. You just email us and say, hey, I've got something to show. We put you on the schedule. We try to make it very loose. Yes?
Could you give an example of a typical project that like one of the breakout groups might work on or something?
Yes. So probably my favorite app that's come out of OpenGov Hack Night has been schoolcuts.org, led by a team of civic hackers, including my colleague Josh Kaloff, who leads the education group. So last year, Chicago Public Schools made this announcement that they were thinking about closing like 160 schools. People freaked out. It was not good. People tried to get information. But the way Chicago Public Schools had released that information is that you had it in 7 different places, you had some buried in Excel sheets. Not good. So the schoolcuts.org team put together a website that laid everything out in a way that parents could go to the site, get all the information they could possibly need about why my school is on the list, why the CPS is justification. You could then compare the school that your kid currently attends now to the school that they're wanting to send them to. It gives the explanation on why CPS considers this a better school. And they didn't. The great thing about School Cuts and the great story behind School Cuts and why it is the way it is and sort of why it was so useful is because they kept going back to the parent organizations saying, okay, we've built this, what do you need? We get feedback, they update the site. I think the last update they made before the Chicago Public Schools actually issued their determination on which schools to close was they translated this entire website into Spanish. Other questions? Yes?
Do we just show up or do we do RSVP?
You can, so if you go to the opengovhacknight.org site, there's a RSVP button.
Okay.
You don't have to register, it just gives us a clue as to how much deep dish to order. This is twice I've promised deep dish.
It's good. It is good.
They spray for the fancy deep dish.
And we do get the fancy deep dish. So there's a Lou Malnati's right across the street from Merch Mart. We literally just, 2 or 3 of us, walk across the street, grab the deep dish, come back. And then we are able to do that because we have a list of rotating sponsors. DataMate, Code for America, ThoughtWorks, all chip in for pizza. And so we're able to sort of feed everybody each week, which is kind of a daunting task now that we've grown so big. Other questions? Okay. Who's next?
Well, before we move on, just again, I want to note that we have these meeting notes, and they're accessible from the conference, page. And I just want to point out, like, this idea of methods of engagement. I'm kind of neurotic about this. This is all there is. There's nothing except the specifics. Nothing else matters except exactly when, exactly how, exactly what flavor pizza, exactly. That's all there is. Everything else is people jibber-jabbering. The only thing that matters is this. How can you be engaged? And this is the answer, and this is a lot of really good, easy ways. Okay?
Chris, like, if someone wanted to show up and had a project, or like, what's the best way to like make use of showing up?
So if your project falls into one of the breakouts, you go to the breakout, you say at the beginning, I have this idea, and then everybody who is also interested in that idea just kind of follows your lead. If none of the breakouts sound interesting, and everything's kind of like, meh, and you have a burning desire to talk about a totally different thing, after we announce the breakout groups, we always sort of open the floor up, and people can pop up and say, you know, I don't want to talk about the environment. I don't care about the environment. My big thing is pension reform. So I want to do a breakout group on pension reform. And thus, pension breakout group is born.
When they do the beginning, when they ask people if there are any projects, a good thing to do is tell them you have a project and to see who's interested in helping you, whether it's that night or ongoing.
I was trying to softball for Chris because I actually came in with a product and a drive with data on it.
There you
and
go.
I left with a product that night,
There you
and
go.
people can help me. So
What was your product? Tell us more.
I was leading a community group who was trying to map out of school STEM opportunities. So there's like lots and lots of people, and we've done this extensive data and collected all this data, and we wanted to make a map. But when we wrote our funding proposal, we hadn't like anticipated like, oh, actually we should put this on a map online. So we had a lot of static stuff, and someone told me about the night, and I actually just came in with the drive with all of our raw, you know, it had already been cleaned up, so it was like ready to go. And like that night, 3 or 4 people came up, and I had a product. Like I walked out, and then somebody else stayed involved. So it was great. It was really great. And people were really enthusiastic, and also made connections for the project that we hadn't been thinking about. So later on, when we released the data, they were available to like help answer questions. That was awesome. STEM Chicago. STEM Chicago.
Anything else? Daniel?
Actually, would you mind? Would you mind if I went? Because the thing I want to talk about is actually a breakout group that was part of Open Gov Hack Night. So I feel like it really leads into it.
Thy will be done. There's a bit in the Willis Tower.
Yeah.
You want to drive here?
No. I mean, the only thing that I would look at is, well, yeah, I guess I will. I'll open up one thing. So let me just start off. So my name's Linus. I work for the City of Chicago. I am pretty new. I just started in May. And compared to the tenure of a lot of other people that worked at the City of Chicago, that's the blink of an eye. I work in the Do It department, which is the Department of Technology and Innovation. I work for Tom Shank, and he works for Brenna Berman. So when I was hired, this is a sort of different kind of talk, but I think it's really relevant. But so when I was hired, it was part of this Bloomberg grant, and I just got blinded for a second. Hey, Derek. And the projects I was working on are the projects that were proposed and the projects that we worked with the different city departments to decide that would be great predictive analytics projects, were things like lead abatement, vacant and abandoned buildings, business closings, and a few other projects that I can't think of right now. But they're very complex projects that have a lot of research around them, a lot of there's a huge body of knowledge that is kind of difficult to, it's not just a technical problem, it's obviously a very challenging policy problem. So I didn't really have a policy or government background, so one of the ideas that we had was to reach out to the Open Gov Hack Night and tap into this group of people that are coming together that are experts and that do have lots of different kinds of experience, both technical and non-technical, and say, well, what's been done? You know, what sorts of data sources do you have? Like, and what sorts of types of outreach are appropriate for tackling these kinds of problems? It's really interesting what happened. So, you know, and it's fortunate that Tom and Brenna were, they're forward-thinking enough to have this idea to go to something called Open Gov Hack Night, because when other people in the city hear that you're going to something called Hack Night, they think, nobody thinks white hat, they think black hat hacking, they think like the bad kind of hacking, but obviously the Open Gov Hack Night is not about the bad kind of hacking, it's about just making things work with available data. Not to put words in anybody's mouth, but I think that's a fair characterization. So it was really interesting. It brought together a lot of different people with a lot of different skill sets, and we really learned a lot from it, and it really moved things forward. But we kind of got to a point where we needed more input from the city, and right now, actually, so the reason I'm saying this is a different kind of talk is right now, this project, as far as the open public part, is on hold. Mostly because I'm also teaching a class right now. I just don't have time to do both things. But actually, I'm going to be done with that in a few weeks, and we'll start doing the public part again. And we're actually going to formalize the public-facing part of the project and actually advertise for volunteers and actually bring in volunteers, because there's a little bit of a process with that for how to engage the public when you're working on a public project like this. But this is really interesting. So some of the things I kind of wanted to share is that it's really a great opportunity to have this group, and that my hat's off to Derek for doing this every single week. It's really just showing up and doing my part was pretty exhausting. And trying to actually get the speakers together and actually bring everything together is really an amazing thing. And it's really, for those of you that haven't gone, if you care about this stuff and you live in the city of Chicago, you should absolutely go. You should absolutely go at least once. Every time, about half the people are new, and half the people have been there, a dozen times. Some people may have been there 100 times. And but it's a really great way that people come together, and it's a really great way that people learn about each other and learn about what's going on. I will tell you that I guess that we can. It's not Forrest Gregg's project. It's mine. This is not GitHub. This is just Git, whatever it is. It's the. So the project that there's some data online, and there is a project online. This is all I have to show you. This isn't that exciting. And to find me, the next step is go to Open Gov Hack Night and find me. I'll be there I won't be there next week, but I will be there after next week. And I'd really like to reach out more to the Woodstock Institute, to LISC, to there's another group that I'm blanking on right now, but I do want to reach out to more groups. I do want to bring together more subject matter experts, more people that know about the resources that are out there, and we just want to keep bringing that together. This project, by the way, is focusing more on the predictive analytics part. So it's not just there's kind of two objectives. There's solving the problem, and there's knowledge about who lives in Chicago and the history and how foreclosures have impacted things. There's that kind of knowledge that's important, but it's also we need help applying that knowledge in a predictive analytic framework to actually make predictions on a granular level, so that we can target very specific types of outreach to individuals and say, hey, this is the type of house where this could become vacant, or this is the type of intervention that could keep this neighborhood from slipping into having a worse state. And we're still exploring how to do this. It's a very complex problem, I mean, if you want to stop vacant and abandoned buildings, you just have to fix the economy, improve transportation, and you know, not have aging neighborhoods, and make everybody healthy, and you won't have, you know, vacant and abandoned buildings, right? And fix crime.
You give
So,
people jobs.
yeah, give people jobs. So, you know, we're trying to find what are tactical interventions that where we can intercede and actually have an impact. Is it demoing? You know, that's not the thing that anybody wants to do, but is that the thing that's going to work? Is it boarding up? Is it making a garden? Is it making an estate plan? Is it, you know, who knows what the actual fix is and what kind of tactical things we can do. But
What's your name?
I'm Gene Linus.
And what's your email?
Well, you would never spell it right by the sound of it, but it's Gene, Gene, .LEYNES @cityofchicago.org.
Be on the doc, right?
Huh?
You put it on the Google Doc for us?
I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know about the Google Doc until this thing started.
So Gene, the way you're gonna recruit volunteers to help inform this is through Hack Night?
Yeah, and that's where we've been, and so it's really, I'm trying to figure out how to move forward with this, because you know, it winds up that you're reintroducing the problem every week. And so I've actually kind of took a little bit of a strategy to say, here's our core group, like, let's just get together after the Hack Night, and let's so we don't have to reintroduce the whole here's the problem that we're trying to solve. And I don't really know exactly how we're going to proceed with this, but here's what I do know. You know, like, for example, right now, I'm certain that there's going to be a classification problem where you're trying to classify what is the current state of the property. There will be a prediction problem where you're trying to predict, will this property transition into a different state, or can you transition it into a better state? And there will be, and this is the more far off one, there will be a prediction for what is the correct intervention. Like, but those are pretty big, vague buckets of process. It's pretty hard to say, hey, you who may or may not know anything about, we may not speak the same computer language. We, you know, who knows where we are. Hey, you, why don't you jump in on this? So, you know, that's why I was asking all those questions about how do you actually commit the first line of code yesterday.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a pretty challenging problem when you're trying to solve something complicated.
Well, let me ask you, because you're talking about a really sophisticated level that you're at, right? You're looking at Hack Night, and you've gotten far, and you just described this moment where it's, okay, but how do I not reintroduce it every single week? Why,
right.
You know, it's like Groundhog Day. What are you going to do? That's my question. Do you have a new meetup? Do you have a meeting? What time is it, and when, and how do we get there?
So we do not have a new meeting right now.
Okay.
I will be going back to OpenGov Hack Night. I will be using that as a place for meeting other people, and I like going. I mean, the speakers are great. It's not just the breakout sessions. They have really good speakers. You know, they just talked, well, you can look at their website and you can see what they've talked about. I don't need to rehash that. But they have like the array of things. That was a really great one where I learned about the sensors they're putting all over the city.
So you don't know yet.
And by
That's
they,
okay,
I mean
but
we.
I want to get somewhere with that. So you don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
But you identified a need to have a more sustained
Right.
sort of group. Will you
And-
be here at 2 or no?
Oh, and the third group, by the way, was the Depaul Housing Institute. So I'm really interested in reaching out more to, like on one-on-one basis, with certain organizations, kind of, and also within the city, and developing our objectives a little bit more clearly. But at the same time, it's the more the merrier. So people that have an interest and that have a way that they want to contribute to this, everybody's welcome. I'm an R guy, by the way. I love Excel. I love pivot tables. But I kind of gone into phase 2 of R, and that's the tool it's a tool that I'm going to have to use because I don't do Python or Ruby on Rails. But you know, I'm looking for people that can make maps. I'm looking for just ways to move the ball forward on accomplishing this task.
And this is the only project, or the
This is
predictive
the main
analytics
project that I'm talking about for this group at
Okay.
this time. Because this is, as opposed to like say the road invading project which the city of Chicago is doing, that one doesn't really require as much public engagement because it's not the same. There's not, you don't really need this multilateral intervention. Rats will not react. They don't know about us really. You know, they don't read the news or anything. But the people that inhabit vacant, what will become vacant abandoned buildings, they do read email, they do get letters, and and it's a very complex problem that requires a lot of different types of intervention. You know, or lead poisoning is another one. So we're working with the DSSG on that, and that's something where it doesn't really require as many different levels of intervention, mostly because so much great work's already been done. And the predictive analytics part of it is not as complicated comparatively. So this is a project where it's particularly powerful, useful, and important to have a wider array of people involved, and they have to be involved. So just people need to buy into it, you know. So anyway, that's something that we're working on. It's still evolving. I wish I could be more specific, but
you don't have to be. This is the point. We have to talk about these sophisticated different layers that we're at. It is what it is. So we're trying to figure out how to form, reform, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
You talk about specific group. By the way, we have 6 minutes.
And I want to say,
it's really surprising. It really blew my mind.
pull requests are welcome.
Pull requests are welcome,
No,
which,
that
is
was-
nice, but not everything, is it, Gene?
No,
It's not everything.
that
right?
was yeah.
I know, it's funny. We have 7 minutes of freaking disaster. I'm sorry. Were the sessions longer yesterday?
Yes.
It seemed like they went on for freaking ever. And now we have...
I could do mine in a minute and a half if you want.
All right, but Daniel, come on. We got to get
You
Daniel.
have one too?
Daniel,
Yeah, I can
Yeah, we have.
we got it. I'm sorry. I really flaked
No,
on
we
that.
need the names and how to contact you.
We
no
need
matter
we
what.
need the methods. Absolutely.
And I'll take this for you guys.
Okay.
The what?
All right. Tutor mentor Daniel.
Do you want to go while you're setting up?
No, I just want to, I'm set up. So, I'm Dan Bessel. I lead something called the Tutor Mentor Connection, and I just put in Google, and my website's the first one on the list of 1 million or so. That's because I've been doing this for about 40 years. I came to Chicago in 1973 to be an advertising writer at Montgomery Ward. I spent the next 17 years doing things that tried to do customers to 400 stores all over the country. At the same time, I got recruited to be a volunteer, worked with an inner city kid, where I met with him every Tuesday trying to inspire him to do things there where he would grow up to be a successful adult. I became the leader of that program in 1975, so then I had 100 pairs of kids and volunteers, and by 1990, that was 300. So every week, I was saying, how do I do my work better? I began to see that there was other people in the city doing the same thing, so I began to build a list and invite them to come together. In 1992, we created the Tutor Mentor Connection to try to formalize this process. Who are all the people doing different types of tutoring and mentoring? Where are they? What do they do? How can we bring them together? Blah, blah, blah. This is one of the websites that we have built on this, where we created a mapping system that you can look at the whole city, and every green dot on there is someone that does some form of tutoring and mentoring. If you sort it by a category such as senior high school tutoring and mentoring, the number of green dots on the map will change. If you add information such as an indicator on schools, then you can quickly see that there's 4 schools in a lot of different places where there's, at least to our database, there's no different programs. If you go to
There's 6 minutes and how many different?
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah,
So,
so-
how do we interact with you?
go to Tutor Mentor Connection. Well, go to Twitter. I've been on Twitter, Facebook, this, that, and the other thing, constantly sharing information, saying let's get
Awesome.
together. Anyone that's interested in this stuff, you can connect me through those things. There's a whole bunch of different work. really from an advertising perspective, how do we use all this information every day to draw people and resources to all the different people who need to do this work? And I think that's a goal and a need that we share in many different sectors, not just in tutoring and mentoring. So it's work that takes lots of different people to take ownership with. I'm out in a lot of different places that I have message will travel.
Awesome.
Thank you
I'll
very
do
much.
mine in 30 seconds and try to make up some time. Adam Heckman, the Chicago City Data User Group is how to use government data for the masses. Meetup.com/Chicago City Data. And the Twitter is at Chicago City Data. We meet once a month at the Microsoft Technology Center at the Aon Center. The people we have there are folks who want to make money off of data, who want to analyze data, use data, how to use Excel with data, what data is out there. We've had the CIO of the county. We've had some folks from Microsoft talk about Power BI, how to get analytics, driving insights, things like that. What else was I going to say about it? Oh, if you want to learn more about it, adam@chicago.com. That's me.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow. What time do you guys meet?
We meet the first Wednesday of every month because Tuesdays are sacred, and we are at 6 o'clock to 7:30. Was it?
Hi.
I'm going to talk about NetSquared too, because Margot, you're not here, are you? So there's two meetups that aim at primarily nonprofit people, either techies or non-techies who want to learn more. One is NetSquared. Margot was here yesterday. I don't know if she's here today. She didn't know about this session, so, and I used to lead NetSquared. NetSquared is part of a larger organization called TechSoup and TechSoup Global, and they focus on social innovation and nonprofits and social good. Really cool meetup. I run the N10 Nonprofit Technology Network, 501 Tech Club Chicago. We tend to be at the Chicago Community Trust. We need more people to help plan because I'm like a chicken with my head cut off, and I need people to help because we're not consistent yet. Hearing you talk about being on the road makes me want to take what we do on the road because there's a lot of people that might not come downtown for a meetup, but if we went in neighborhoods, we might do better. So I think we should have a traveling road show and a whole bunch of us get together and travel around and do these meetups. So if you're a nonprofit person who wants to just learn more about generic tech, whether it's social media or data or choosing a website develop vendor, whatever it is, we're looking for people to attend, we're looking for people to help plan. And the trust has been great. They give us lots of food and great space and whatever. And then I feel like a little bit of fraud talking about this because I haven't done one in a while, but I created something called Chicago Counts, which is a conference for small to mid-sized orgs on technology. I'm going to do the next one at Blue 1647. And I just need to, now that I have a location, I just need to do it. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, talk to me. I'm always looking for speakers. Always looking for participants. List sent 20 people last time we did it, and it was great opportunity to learn. That's it.
Well,
Or
yeah,
you want to reach
let's go, Hunter.
N10 is how you sign up for the N10.
This one's mostly for my benefit. I'm Hunter Owens. I help run Hack at U Chicago, which is the student tech nerds group at the University of Chicago, and I also have friends who do various things at Northwestern, UIC, UIUC, but it's hack.uchicago.edu. We run a tech talk every Thursday, and I want you to come talk about your technology because you are awesome and not Google or Facebook. We also have a job board. Turns out people actually want to work for you guys rather than Google or Facebook. It's just that Google and Facebook beat down your door with emails. So we have a job board, and I have a secret mission of like, let's have people work on problems that matter, which you do. And come when you're looking for somebody. We have a job board at .cs.uchicago.edu. Yeah, no, because I'm really sick of people just making ad targeting better. I'm really tired of it, and you should all come give a tech talk. Email me at howens.uchicago, or so you can add that.
Say that again.
It's howens@uchicago.edu, and it's going up there because Dan is right on the typist thing today.
So
You're amazing.
matters.
Yeah, and yeah, please get in touch with me and talk about your awesome technology because I have to fill a tech talk every week.
Jobboard.who?
cs.uchicago.
When you say your awesome technology, what do you mean by that?
What?
What do you mean by your awesome technology?
Literally everything. I've had one of the more interesting presentations we have was the mainframe that runs United.
Okay.
And it is literally a out of the 70s mainframe.
Oh, yeah.
That is terrifying and like leaves me not sleeping at night sometimes because I think all the planes are going to fall out of the sky. But notwithstanding that, do you do some sort of technology analytics? Do you want to have? Generally, we're about a mix. Professors come, students comes, both undergrad and grad. So it's a really cool way to have some people in academia come take a look at your work in a way versus them leaving academia. You got to bring them. You got to bring the world into them sometimes. So pretty much anything, let me know and I will coach a tech talk that will work out of what you do, and I will spend a lot of time on it because I want it to all work.
Great. What day is the meetup?
So tech talks are Thursday. We also run a hack night every Friday if you are U of C, because I know some of you are in this room.
Thursdays at what time?
Thursdays generally late afternoon to early evening. We're kind of flexible on time because people have different times they want to come talk, and we want to see you talk more than have a specific time. So we will move that. If you can't make it on Thursdays, we will move it for you.
And the hack night is only for U Chicago people?
It's generally just U Chicago people, or people in Hyde Park sometimes, but yeah, it's less relevant to you guys probably.
Hey, who else? Yeah. Thank you very much. Young Jin.
So, a group of us, Nikki,
Nikki?
Whoa, you just
Thanks,
created a
interesting.
superhuman.
There we go. Nikki, Nicholas Mader, Mackie, and myself, we run a group called Data Potluck. And it's in fact a potluck. And the idea is to bring people who have problems with their data and their day-to-day work and or are interested in doing data projects to come in and learn about the open source tooling that's available for you to be able to actually attack these problems. We have a very vibrant community that is sort of software and application based that tries to do visualization, but this is, I think, the only one that kind of tries to do the analytics pipeline, taking the data, cleaning it, wrangling it, matching it up with other sources, and then sort of showing you how to take it all the way. And we've done several iterations where people came in and said, hey, we want to learn more about IPython, do a session on IPython notebook. And you would walk away with the notebook, useful resources on how to follow up. Our website has links to all of our sessions, and all of our code is open source, so you can go in and redo all of the work that we've done. So all three of us are also involved in data science for social good, and one of the things that we're really believers in is that these tools are not just for a select few. Anybody can use these, and we just want to make sure that you guys are aware of them. It saves you time, and hopefully also you learn something as you progress through it. The other point is there's certain people in the community that have very, very strong knowledge in specific things. Like there might be somebody that comes to our group that is an expert in time series analysis, and if you happen to have time series data, then we want to make sure that those connections get made. So you know who to email, you know what they're able to do, and take that conversation in a coffee shop or whatever. Great, thanks.
Who else? Yep. You kidding me? Here we go, brother.
Somebody should mention.
It's in there.
Somebody should mention the data visualization user group.
Data viz. Yeah.
Do you want me to talk about that?
Data viz, go.
Tom Shank, who I don't think is here right now, he's also got a data visualization user group that meets once a month. It's super interesting. People, he'll set out a data set in advance, and people create really interesting visualizations. Almost all of them are using R. I don't know the cadence of it, but if you go to Meetup and look up Chicago data, look up data visualization user group, it's up there.
Yeah, that's a good meetup, and I'd also add to that the R user group and the machine learning user group are actually really long-lasting good groups too.
And
Say it
if
again?
you're interested in machine learning,
The R1 and the machine learning one by Rob.
Okay, cool.
Lancaster and
Who?
and I forget. He's the Orbits guy. Anyway, that one's had some really awesome talks, although it's been a little slow lately.
And if you're interested in machine learning, one of the Chicago City data user groups is going to be titled "What the hell is machine learning?"
What else?
I have one.
Go.
I'm Dan. I'm trying to start a kind of regular meetup called Map Time. It's focused on kind of collectively running through geospatial tech tutorials together and like learning as a group. We had our first one in July where we learned how to use OpenStreetMap and make their first contribution to the map. And the next one will be sometime next month. There's like a national thing, maptime.io, and then there's on Twitter, maptime.phi. Is where things will be posted. There'll be more details on the web soon, but that's where you can find stuff.
Okay, who else? We didn't say it. Hit us.
I don't know a ton about the next one or anything, but there's an OpenStreetMap user group that's run by D&Ds, and I think Steve Banks is also involved in that. They get together every so often and they have edit-a-thons, so they'll go and add a bunch of data to OpenStreetMap.
Yeah.
And then they just try to train people on how to use these. It's an awesome resource. It's basically the Wikipedia of anybody.
Yep. We've hosted a bunch of those. It's a huge opportunity for people with no technical skills to get involved because it's a very neighborhood activity to talk about and the assets in your neighborhood and to update a map base that drives Foursquare and millions of map views a day.
And that's what it's called, OpenStreetMap user group. That's what it's called.
Yeah, there. OpenStreetMap user group. Somebody needs to Googleize this for me. I'm about spent on this.
Oh, that's right. So Stephen Vance is the guy running that.
Steve Mapp.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a really coincidental name.
Stephen Vance, you're on it. What else we got? And then we got to go to this other session thingy. So this is good. 2 o'clock over in the little hangout area, and it's before 2. It could be now, whatever. Anyway, is that it for everybody? Yeah. Yay! Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
This was amazing.
Come and turn it off.
Turned out good. Yeah. You know, these can go to hell or they can go to hell. You might have since I'm almost out of bed, you might have to do it. Go.
Are you guys bringing in the machine learning process?
You up for it?
My co-founder might be.
I'm not. Who's your co-founder?
Harsha, he's well.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. Let me give you my.
He's a researcher. He's been doing.
Yeah, but can he do it at a level that idiots can understand? We just released Azure Machine Learning about a month or 2 ago, and it's called Machine Learning for the Masses. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, masses if you're a data scientist, but I'm truly the masses, so, you know. Oh, you are? Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll run it by him, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys have some pretty awesome research guys. Do you know some? He does.
Thank you so much.
but I was live or save my name. Yeah, actually, for like a 1 hour meeting. So it's we're really
Hey, I'm Andrew. I'm just going to be.
I always feel like I don't know.
Okay, yeah. First things first, we better get connection to the internet. We're not connected. Right. It was for the previous session they were using it, but it seems to have shut off. It's pretty big. Oh, visualization. It's collecting data, I believe.
Get on 33 Willis Challenge. Get on 33 Willis.
It's not.
It just showed up.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I started freaking out because I'm nervous.
There you go. That's it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. I think I go in the middle. Jared's will lead on. Then me and then Josh. See you guys there. Big That I missed.